Hi, I am Claire, and I like building houses in The Sims 4. So if you like watching people build houses, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. That'd be really appreciated. For this house, it is a werewolf home, but I didn't want it to look like a werewolf home. I do have areas where the walls are definitely more beaten up than other areas, but I wanted this like main entry area to look like a stage home, look like a house that you would see on HGTV. I wanted their story to kind of be that one of the parents is a werewolf, one of the parents isn't a werewolf, and the parent that isn't a werewolf is a perfectionist and has friends with very snobby opinions, and so they have like this like kind of more modern looking staged area with a kitchen, dining room, and kind of like a formal living room. I'm going to talk more about formal living rooms when we get to that area, but we do not use formal living rooms as they were intended for like a few years ago. I mean, now they're probably more like offices or kids' playrooms, but this is like a true like sitting room area. And so I am using the items from the new kitchen pack that just came out just a few weeks ago, and I wanted to use it just because it's new and I thought it would look good in this kitchen. And I did kind of get this idea of having like a kitchen and then like kind of a lower den area off of HGTV. There's an episode of Help, I Wrecked My House, I think like in the last of the first season and the beginning of the second season. And so I had this, and I wanted to do something similar to that. I also really like how in the new pack there are different like separated plates, and I really like the speckled ones. I used a mug in the den that had that kind of speckle look from the book kit, and I'm like, oh wow, like it matches. It's like usually packs, items from packs don't usually match, and so we are now working on a little sitting front room area. I guess this isn't really sitting area, although there are a lot of other sitting areas throughout the house, and so we are just going to be working on the front porch. Yes, I probably should have started it with this area, but I was excited to build with the new kitchen items because that was the first time I've built with them, and I really like how there's like a pizza oven and like a mixer. I feel like that's really fun. And so we are just going to find something to add into this little nook. That is the first of many bookshelves I add. I felt like it was just going to be a little too plain if I added a plant, and so I decided to, hey, let's make it functional, add a bookshelf. And so we are just going to be adding a dining room table now. I first wanted to see my options with the werewolf pack just because I only build with the occult packs in October, and so I kind of forgot what there was to build with. And so do use these werewolf chairs, but the table and the captain chairs are from the base game, and so I really like how this area turned out. Again, like formal dining rooms would have been like cool like a few years ago, but maybe not as used right now. So it's kind of like in the hallway, kind of open to the area of this like upper level of the first level, and so we are just now in the formal living room, excuse me. And so I wanted this area to have a fireplace because there's one on the outside, and I'm using the pack with get growing together that has a fireplace, and I thought it would look nice here. And I thought like, hey, that would make sense. Like if it's like the holidays, then you can have like a Christmas tree in this like pretty little area. So this is like the formal sitting room I was talking about earlier, and it's just kind of like a clean space for like get-togethers and little like when friends come over, it's like they see this part. They don't see like the parts where the werewolves have kind of beaten it up. And so we are just going to be adding some different items. I was kind of regretting doing these bump outs, but on the exterior I wasn't, but like it was a little bit hard to find stuff to put in each of these little bump outs, but I do figure it out. At first I have this one in the front be a little play area for a child, but I do actually move that down into the den. And so I really wanted to use the lunch boxes, one because they're just new, two because I saw a wolf on one of the swatches and I'm like, oh, that's perfect for the werewolf scene. And so first, like I said, we are going to be adding a little play area for the child, but I realized maybe this isn't like the best thing. Like maybe it's, I guess it's close for when it's dinner time, but it's like you want it to be clean for the Sims friends to see. And so I do have a little art area. Wanted this area to have a little bit of skill building, so I have a little painting section. I was thinking that this area would be definitely for the non-werewolf sim, like maybe they're into painting, maybe they play the guitar. And so we are just going to be finishing up this space for the time being. Like I said, I do kind of rearrange some stuff and we do come back to this area just shortly. And so we are just going to be adding some curtains before we move on to the next space, which is going to be adding a piano kind of in the dining room space. I was originally going to have like china cabinets, but I didn't really like how it was looking, and so I decided to add a piano instead. I thought that was just kind of like, hey, we're a normal family that doesn't have anything to do with werewolves, so hey, look, here, we play the piano. And so we are just going to be adding some rugs and going to be adding some plants just to give that area some more visual interest. And we are just going to be going into the half bath on the first floor, just kind of simple area, something for the guests to use or when Sims come home from school or work. And so that's why it's right off of the front door. That's what I was thinking, like Sims coming home from school or work and they were tired, they couldn't have a bathroom break, although I guess their Sims when they go to school, their needs kind of get refilled. And so we are just going to be adding some more columns because I felt like it was looking a little bland on the corners. And now we are in the den or the sunken living room or the family room, whatever you want to call it. I first start off by adding a little media table, or not media table, but a table with a computer, and I wanted to use this one from Werewolves, so it looked like it had the werewolf was like gnawing on the leg, and so they had to have a book to level it out. I just like that little story it gives, and I did have a hard time finding what to put on the ends or either side of this desk, but I do find something. I do also feel like sometimes it's a little visually cluttered, but we are also going to be adding a TV from the city living pack, and I really like how it just like fills in all the space. And so we are just going to be finding a little coffee table underneath. I forgot the word coffee table, or I'm using it as a coffee table. It is from the Growing Together pack, and I did want to use the werewolf couches just because it's an item I don't usually use unless it's October. And so I wanted this area to look a little bit neat, just in case like a sim friend pokes their head around the corner and like, oh, like what's going on over there? But I wanted to have a little bit of like nice furniture along with the like kind of more beaten up furniture. I also thought it'd be fun to connect these two spaces by having the same rug, one just looking a little bit more beaten up than the other, but they're both like living spaces, and so they both have the same rug. And I thought that was just kind of a cute feature to add for like story purpose, like, oh, I like this rug, but it got destroyed because of my werewolf, and so I bought it again and they can't touch it, they can't go into this room. I did want to add some more beaten up furniture, although I do get rid of one of those chairs and replace it with a beanbag from the high school years pack, and I feel like it just looks a little bit more eclectic, especially with like werewolves kind of beating up furniture. It makes sense to have more than just, or have just one item, not more than one item. And so we are just going to be going back and adding this picture into the lower den from City Living, and now we are going to be moving the play area down here as well. And I really liked that up here, but I feel like having just kind of more something more formal made sense up here, and so I just have some chairs that rock from the Growing Together pack. I really like the design of these chairs, and I like how this space turned out. Just another seating area. Maybe the sim that isn't a werewolf likes having dinner parties, likes having people over. They're more of a social butterfly, maybe, as the werewolf sim is more of a loner. And so, but they have a interest of books, which they bond over. That's probably why there's so many bookshelves in here. I just also can't control myself, apparently, and I had a lot of little areas to fill. So we are just going to be using this lamp from the book kit, and this some more other bookshelves and little book piles. I really liked how this area turned out. I like how cozy I feel looking at that space, and so we are just going to be trying to see if I want to add like the same bookshelves, but like I said earlier, I added like a bookshelf from the werewolf pack that has like scrolls and like kind of more beaten up books, and so we are just going to be adding a little radio and a art table, and going to be adding some curtains down in the den. And I took me a while to figure out which curtains to add, but I feel like sometimes you just need to go for the old faithful and go with the base game ones. And so we are just going to be adding a little book quote, and I wanted to add the curtains that are just straight down. They don't like kind of curve up. I do use them in like another part of the house, but I don't use them in this room specifically. Just maybe because the Sims like don't want to have like the outside world see this like hot mess furniture. And I do add a science lab table for the child. I really wanted this area to be like child friendly, werewolf friendly, TV friendly, and just kind of put all the little clutter items down here. Although I do move this bracelet making kit up into the child's room, and so we are now just going to be adding some wear and tear to the walls just to make it look like they had a little rage and they maybe punched a hole, maybe scratched the wall. And I like just the wear and tear just kind of gives an opposite feel of like the rest of this main area. And in the game, werewolves do have rage. They need to lock them in a room and then they will break stuff, but hey, the handiness will grow. And so we are just going to be adding this bookshelf that I have been talking about, and I really wanted it to look like there's items covering the holes and stuff, and I feel like the holes would eventually make cracks, and so I wanted to add that as well. And now we are going to be going up to the second level, although I don't start with this landing area. I feel like since I was just doing like a sitting area, I was kind of feeling tired of doing that. I needed a break, so I starting with the primary bedroom, which is like right off of the landing in the first door when you get up here. And so this room is just very simple. I wanted to keep it very clean. I'm going to be using the bed from the Growing Together pack, and going to be using a lot of picture frames that you can add your own pictures to, and going to be adding a little seating area. If you want to, you can maybe make that into a walk-in closet. I wasn't trying to use the interior design pack, the Dream Home Decorator pack, and so I just made another seating area. But if you are tired of how many seating areas I've added into this house, you can go and add maybe a closet if you have the Dream Home Decorator pack. And so we are just going to be adding just some more pictures around the room. I wanted this space to feel warm, calming, familiar, so that's why I added all these pictures frames. Maybe they could be like family pictures or pictures the parents took on like different dates. And so we are just going to be adding a mirror, and this took me a little bit to find the right mirror I wanted to use for this pack or for this house. I went through a lot of mirrors in different packs, and I also was like, oh, I want to use like this vampire mirror, but I wanted this room to feel a bit more put together than like the den area. And so we are just going to be also adding a little meditation spot. I felt like that would be a little bit necessary with having a werewolf for spouse, or maybe that's a thing that the werewolf would be trying to work on. And so we are just going to be adding a log, or like a little log holder for the fireplace. I thought that was just a fun detail, and I kind of forgot about the item because, like I've said previously, I don't use this pack unless it's October, so maybe that's a challenge. In 6 months I should make a house using the werewolf pack. And if you like the idea, comment down below, remind me in 6 months. And so we are now just going to be going and adding a little rug. I thought this rug from the Book Knit kit was pretty nice, and it just had that kind of more warm hug feel I wanted this space to have. And now we are going into the first kid's bedroom, which I was mentioning would be for a girl, but you can obviously have whoever you want in this room. I just thought it'd be fun to do a super cute and pink room, and so we are just going to be using this bed from the high school years pack along with this desk, and I just thought it would look kind of cool. Like, this sim obviously hasn't gotten their werewolf powers yet, and so they can have nice furniture. And so we are just going to be adding a little chair and going to be adding some more items that I thought would make sense for a kid. I said this is going to be a kid's room, and then there's going to be a teen's room. And so just going to be adding some decorations into this desk, and I really like how this area turned out. I also like how on this desk you can add like stuff like on the main part, and then there's that shelf up above, and going to be adding another lunchbox. I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted, if I wanted to go like super pink in that room, and then I'm like, no, this sim has committed to pink, and so I wanted to add a pink lunchbox for them. And now we are just going to be adding a Worcestershire sauce. I was combining those two words, and going to be adding a little stuffed unicorn, and going to be adding some curtains. And I feel like this room just has a very nice color theme. All these colors play off of each other pretty well, and since it is a very pink loving sim, I wanted to change the color of this dollhouse, and I feel like adding these teddy bears really made a little story out of what was happening, and I liked that, how it kind of gave a little story. And so we are just going to be adding some board games down on the formal living room and going to be adding some pictures. And this took me a little bit to figure out what exactly, like, I knew I wanted some pink bunnies to go with the pink clouds, but I also wasn't sure if I should add these other pictures of animals. And you do see me like continue with the free, but I actually do get rid of the one on the bottom just because it looks like kind of too much bunny in a way. Like there was like one in the frame and then two on the ground, and so I do just make it a little less visually cluttered and just add two. And so now we are in the bathroom that the child and the teen would be sharing, and this space was pretty simple. I wanted to do a little bit more than just my normal 6x2 room, and so it's it has a bump out basically. I couldn't figure out how many tiles it is, but it has two more tiles, so the tub is a little bit more pushed back into the room, and we are just going to be going and adding a seating area now before I go into the teen werewolf's bedroom. I just needed a little break from doing so many little sitting areas, so I feel like having this area doing the bedrooms before I did the sitting room really helped me out there. And while I am remembering, there is a bathroom attached to the primary bathroom, and so I just thought I should mention that. I didn't record it because it is my normal 6x2, or my 3x2 bedroom equaling 6, and so we are just going to be adding some awards from the high school years. I thought that was just kind of a little fun feature to add, and going to be adding some more cracks and some more scrapes into this area because it's like the werewolf teen maybe couldn't like handle himself enough and until he gets to their bedroom, and so they had to lash out at something. And now we are in the final room of the house, is the teen's bedroom. I was imagining that this would be for a male sim, but you can also have whoever you want living in this room. This room doesn't even have to be for a werewolf. That's just where I thought it would be nice, and so we are just going to be adding this cool art piece. Like, yes, I am the werewolf, but I am the man inside, and so I thought that maybe the werewolf is the artist in the like formal living room, or that's an interest they share with their human parent. And so we are just going to be adding this dresser. I thought maybe this dresser, like, it doesn't look like it would fit into the room, but maybe that's like the only thing that is werewolf proof, so they don't destroy all of their clothes. And so we are just going to be adding a cool mirror. Well, it's probably not cool, but it looks like it fits the room of a werewolf teen. And so we are just going to be adding some more cracks and going to be centering that mirror just because I couldn't tell what else to put on this wall. And so I'm like, you know what, just center it, and then you don't have to worry about putting things on either side. And now we are just going to be adding a few things onto the desk, and I felt like this was just a very simple area. It just needed to be very simple, and it's really underneath the bed. Doesn't need to have too much into this space. But I did want to add some laundry into the space, so it's like, as a teenager, like, there are going to be a little bit of messy spots, and that did remind me to, like, hey, maybe I should add a clothesbin for the child. And so we are just going to be adding some little more of scrapes and tears into this area, and I put one like right over the art, and I thought that looked cool. And I just am going to be adding some picture frames, although I feel like this amount of picture frames was maybe a bit overwhelming, and so I do bring back this picture with the werewolf scrape on it. And now we are in the backyard, going to be finishing up this video, and so I wanted to add a tree house because, like I said at the beginning video, the non-werewolf sim wants to be like, hey, I have a perfect normal family, let's build a tree house, and I felt like a swing set would make sense as well. Just maybe things that you don't have to worry about having a rage thing. You can just be like, hey, let's just have some nice family time outside. And I wanted to add this bonfire with the couch in it. I thought it'd be funny, like that was the previous couch and it just can't repair it anymore, so let's just burn it. And I just thought that would be kind of funny. Again, an item I forgot to add, or I forgot it even existed. And so we do add a telescope and some logs for seating. I couldn't like clip them to the bonfire, but I thought it looked probably better backed away a little bit, and so we do add a little outdoor grill area. I do add the pizza oven. I feel like it maybe made more sense out here, and plus the kitchen is more small, and so I thought it would be better out here. And I did want to add this upper cabinet that could maybe be like a range hood, and so we are just going to be finishing up the backyard, and we are going to be going into screenshots. So I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please hit that like and subscribe button. I would really appreciate it, and make sure to come back next week for another Sims 4 video. If you want to play in the house, the information is down in the description. So I hope to see you all next week. Bye!